I'm Kevin Coleman with the Saddle Post, and I'm speaking to Charles Tassell, who is one of the Republican candidates, primary candidates for the running for the 2nd Congressional District. And you were speaking at the Republican Women of Ross County today at a lunchtime meet and greet.
Yes.
I had to leave early, but I've caught you here at the Lincoln Day dinner.
Yes.
So I also missed the first part of your chat. So please introduce yourself and what is your background?
Okay. Charles Tassell. I am married for 31 years. I've been an elder and pastor at my church, which is Pleasant Ridge Baptist Church. Plugged in on policy for over 30 years. I'm currently the Chief Operating Officer for the National Real Estate Investors Association, and I actually work for CCV, which is Citizens for Community Values as well. So I've worked on issues from property rights and lowering taxes to unintended consequences to life, marriage, and religious freedom.
The CCV, is that
Citizens for Community Values?
Is that just, that's the name of the
That's
group?
the name of the nonprofit organization, yes.
Okay. And did I hear you say Claremont County?
I am. I live in Stone Lake Township in Claremont County.
And what is your current occupation?
I'm the Chief Operating Officer for the National Real Estate Investors Association.
You said that? All right. So I presume you've had a lot of experience with being a realtor.
It's the real estate investor side. So what we do is actually, we're focused on people who are buying property, flipping property, rehabbing property, bringing property back on the tax dole so that people can live in it. A lot of times we get what's called a zombie property, something that property that's left over and abandoned in a community. Our folks are the ones who fix it up, clean it up, bring it back to market. Maybe it's a rental property, or maybe it's sold for somebody to be a first-time homeowner.
So that's why you brought up a lot of the real estate market in China.
From the real estate market across the U.S. to the impact it has from the real estate market we have here in the U.S. to the real estate market in China, and was comparing notes on that. One of the things we find that China actually, between there's some questions on what's going to happen there, because not only do they have economic issues, they've also got population issues. And when you have a country that is actually in possible decline, their leadership can get desperate, and that can be a big problem.
They're regretting that one-child policy.
They are very much regretting it. In fact, they realized that they overestimated their under-20s by over 100 million people. That's a huge amount of people.
Out of a population of how much?
Well, out of a little over 1 billion people, which is actually less than India now. So geopolitically, they're sliding down, and as they continue to decline, they may become desperate. So we've got to make sure that we've got partners in the area, building, whether it's our partners in the Philippines, Australia, Japan, and we have great relationships there, and making sure we're supporting them.
You were speaking about their military actions, how they're increasingly pushing limits, and also the straits, the entrances to from the sea to China.
Well, it's understandable in some sense what they're trying to do, which is reach out and make sure that they're having staging grounds, military staging grounds, a little farther out, because they import 60% of their oil, 60% of their food, and they've got to make sure that they've got ways to support that and sustain it. And that's part of what they're doing with the islands, and they're becoming very aggressive. Now, one of the concerns is that being initiated, or is that people doing that on their own, thinking, well, this is what the boss would want? So that's one of the concerns, and I know the Pentagon has raised that issue multiple times about the danger that they're putting people into with some of these reckless behaviors.
Now, I've heard, and I think you brought up, that their military is really not that great, not really something that we should fear, but what they have, they might use.
Well, I was speaking in terms of Russia with that.
Okay.
We've seen the Russian, it's a paper tiger is a term that's used for the military on the ground. But if you look at how Russia uses their military over the years, they tend to push numbers, and they just push people through and keep going until they grind down an opponent. And it's not about specialty. Their focus is artillery, which is plus or minus, half mile, and that gets into a lot of damage on citizens, and that's part of the problem.
Sort of cannon fodder thing.
Yeah, it does, and they're using their own citizens as cannon fodder, and we need to figure out what the American interest is and make sure we've got goals and metrics that align with that.
You mentioned that you were going in one direction, and then Congressman Westrup said he was retiring, and you chose to jump into this the candidacy here.
Yeah, so not only am I the chief operating officer, I do some investments. One of the investments I was actually joining in was a small FFL, small company where we do federal firearms. So I'm a federal firearms licensed dealer and participate in that. And then went to the process of we were moving forward, and then with a lot of thought and prayer and a lot of encouragements from friends, family, and a lot of associates as well have stepped into the race and believe that I can win this and really like to serve the 2nd District. As an elder at my church, we talk about servant leadership, and that's really the best way because we send people to Congress to fight for us, and they tend to fight. I would actually like to go and work for us.
Okay. Any other thoughts from your chat this afternoon?
We had a pretty far-ranging conversation, everything from housing issues to education, getting kids to be able to stay in school from K through 3rd. You learn to read in order to read to learn, and making sure we're focusing on that. The other side is on, again, having been a council member in the city of Deer Park for 8 years, very focused on grant side of things and making sure that smaller municipalities have not only the services and infrastructure they need, but the wherewithal to even request it. Not even when they don't even know what grants to go after. That's kind of hard for them to, I don't know what I don't know aspect. So we need to help them and help that across the entire 16 counties in the 2nd District.
All right. How can people learn more about your campaign?
My website is tasselforcongress.com, and I also have Facebook, which is Friends of Charles Tassell.
All right. Charles Tassell, a Republican primary candidate for the 2nd Congressional District. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.